Nerd alert! Dork face!
I am not a loser. I just have a bad haircut.
Kind of a major dork.
Oh, nerds.
If you're into science, tech, or unique hobbies, you're listening to the right show. On Get Nerdy With It, we interview nerds talking about their passions. This is Get Nerdy With It.
Hello, welcome to Get Nerdy With It, episode number 52, recorded on Thursday, May 28th, 2015. I am your host, Jennifer Ruggiero, and we have our awesome co-host with us tonight, Mr. Andrew Nelson. Hey, Andrew.
Hey, how are you?
Great. How are you?
Doing awesome. Good. It's great to be
here
again.
I'm happy that we're back again. and I'm really excited to talk with our guest tonight. We have Mr. Spencer Handley from PodClear.com. Hi, Spencer.
Hi there. How's it going?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
I'm doing very well.
Thanks for taking the time out to meet with us. I know we've been kind of playing tag a little bit, going back and forth and trying to arrange it, and I keep on rescheduling, so I appreciate it.
No problem. Happy to be on the show.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, I thought since today is the first day of Google I.O., I thought it'd be a lot of fun to talk about some of the Google I.O. announcements that just came out. Have either of you been able to follow it at all?
Yep.
A little bit. Yeah, like we discussed right before the show, I haven't had time to watch it, mainly because it happens during the day, and I know we're all busy. We got busy schedules, so we can't really keep up perfectly.
I know. I tried so much. It's like I was live streaming it on one monitor, and then I was hosting a conference call on another one, and I'm trying to watch both.
If you're gonna do it, you have the job to do it. If you're gonna be the one to follow along, so.
Well, yeah, and because my main role is in wireless, you know that, and so it's right up our alley. This entire conference. In fact, one of our team members is at Google I.O. right now and was sending pictures and just kind of like live blogging it with us a little bit, and I was really excited. So, yeah. So let's get into it. So first, we have a little bit of a preview that they showed earlier today of Android M, which we don't know what Android M is going to be called actually, but it is the new operating system that will replace Lollipop, and hopefully it will come out, I think, this summer. And so they gave a little bit of a preview of Android M of what we're going to see. And so some of the new features that they actually have, which I think are great, are app restrict permissions, where they're going to allow it so that you know how you receive when you install a new app and it asks you the permissions of whether or not you accept or you allow them to have the permissions to your device. And you say yes or no, and it's just kind of all or nothing. Well, now you can actually agree to specific permissions, and you can change that. So you don't have to always give access to your contacts or your mic or your camera or whatever it is that they're trying to seek. And I thought that was kind of a cool feature.
I think this is something that people have been waiting for a long time, too. But I also feel that there's going to be those conspiracy theorists that are like, well, even if you do opt out of it, how do you really know that it's not still accessing your microphone and listening to you?
Yeah, that's true. I guess some people are going to, they're always a little bit weary like that. I don't know. I'm very trusting, though. If somebody says they're not going to access it, then I don't think they're going to access it. But, yeah. What's your take on it, Spencer?
I have mixed feelings about it. It's, with this new operating system and sort of requesting permissions from the user, there's a lot of things, at least for myself personally, as a developer, I think there are a lot of parts of the hardware that the developer is going to want access to that the end user might not completely understand why they need access to it. Mm-hmm. And if they disallow that particular feature, that user might come back and say like, hey, why isn't my app working? Like the developer must have written buggy software, but in reality, they made that first decision to disallow whatever, the microphone or this particular setting, and that could break features down the line. So it sort of introduces more edge cases for the developer, and I'm wondering how they're going to mitigate those issues. So that's a little bit concerning. In terms of just the hardware itself, trusting the almighty Google to not listen to us. I don't know if there's a whole lot we can do about that. There's a new there's an app that I saw the other day. It's called Google Tone. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't seen Google Tone.
It's kind of cool. And it kind of touches on this idea of Google sort of constantly listening. It's this thing that it's a Chrome extension, and basically when you're on a website, you hit the Chrome extension. It's a little like megaphone icon, and what it does is it basically projects this sound out of your speakers, and it sounds like a sequence of like pretty tones and like a little song. But any computer in the room, if they have Google Tone installed on their Chrome browser, will immediately get a desktop like push notification that with a link in it, and the link will be whatever web page you were on when you hit the Google Tone button. So it's sort of like a fast way to pass links around the room. But what's concerning about that is, in order for that to work, Google Chrome has to be constantly listening to the room.
Yeah.
And that means that Google Chrome was already listening to the room. So the first time I saw that, I was like, wait a second, like, how did it know to listen at that moment?
That's a great point. Yeah, because there's not going to be any type of keyword, right? It's,
there isn't. I mean, you don't push it and say like, oh, listen for this tone now. It's just like, oh, I heard a tone. Like, well, that's weird.
So I gotta ask then, do you think, I mean, yeah, this is convenient, but do you think they're doing this just so they could, have microphone access?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that benefits them? Do you think that's why they made this?
From reading the specs on it, it was sort of like a hacker project. It seemed like a few guys at Google were just like messing around with ways to pass links around. It never even really hit the public, so it's not something that's like well known. It was on, I can't remember, I think I saw it on Product Hunt or something, and it seems like it was just more of a hackathon project than anything that turned out kind of cool. But I don't know. It just exposed a part of Chrome that I wasn't actually aware of. That like all of these extensions can run a constant audio stream, and not really tell you about it, which is kind of hilarious.
That's really interesting. That's very interesting. I didn't even know that existed. That reminded me of, and this is different, but with the OK Google. Hopefully my browser doesn't pop up right now, but where it records your content. And what was that URL, Andrew? You and I were looking at it. It was I think google.com/history/audio. Let me see if that's it. google.com/history/audio.
Basically what it does is it allows you to look up all your past Google searches, and if they went through after you used the OK Google audio search, it lets you listen to every single one, and it keeps them for a long time too.
But the thing
the first time I found that, there's just like hundreds of audio searches just saved on Google's
And the
Drive.
thing that is interesting though, and I played some back for you, Andrew. There were clips of us talking when I never even said the OK Google. I have to spell it out like a child. And, to trigger it. So I didn't say any hot word to trigger it, yet it would still record our conversation. So I have so many, I have a lot of audio that's captured just random things throughout my day.
At least 25% of mine were me yelling at my phone saying, Google, shut the fuck up.
It's like noting that, like, oh, great. Yeah, it kind of goes way back to like back in the day. I can't remember what it was. I think it was called Google Connect or something like that. I don't remember the name of it, but basically it was like 411 or information, but Google put it out, and you could call this number and like ask it a question or ask it like information for like a direction somewhere, and it would kind of like speak them back at you.
Yeah.
And it turns out like that whole system that they were building. I was talking to my co-founder Josh about this a few weeks ago. Turns out that whole system was designed to collect geo-specific audio of people speaking into a microphone so that they could train up the corpus of data that then became sort of this the Siri of Android, whatever you call it, like the Google sort of like AI that's in all of the phones. So now they have like, because millions of people called into that, and they had all of these like hours, hundreds of thousands of hours of audio, and they knew exactly where those people were from. They could start training the accents. They could start training, the algorithms necessary to be able to understand a huge array of different language input. So, all of that data is super valuable. I don't think Google's going to use it maliciously, but it's super valuable for them to, make their machine learning algorithms smarter and make their, listening AI smarter.
Yeah.
Which is kind of Kind of crazy.
absolutely.
I think that's great. Even with the transcription too, with Google Voice, for example, and we have and they don't do the best job of transcribing, but I share those transcribed
Absolutely
messages a lot, though, just to kind of help them and guide them along because
Totally.
I think
They get better. They get better over time. It's kind of crazy. It's crazy too that even like as an individual user, like I have friends who have terrible accents, and they say like when they first purchase a phone, the thing can't understand them, and then by the end of it, like if they've had the phone for a couple of years and it's linked to their Google account, it can understand anything they say. So
Wow.
it gets smarter on an individual basis because it grows accustomed to your own accent, and it's pretty incredible machine learning. It's a really amazing technology.
That is.
It's awesome.
It's very incredible.
We get another thing too that I saw earlier today, and I wasn't aware that this is recent. Offline Google Maps, because I remember you and I on our trip to Canada. Obviously, we had to turn our cell networks off so we didn't get hit with those international charges. And you were trying to download Google Maps locally on your phone so that we could still get around in Montreal.
And
But this was just announced, and it says it's coming out later this year. So do you want to explain to us? Because I thought we could already do this.
We can do it already on Android, but it doesn't work all that great. In the iOS version, I haven't been able to access it. It was something that they had a while back where you could access it better, but now they seem to have pulled that functionality. You can only do bits and pieces. So I think what this is going to do is allow you to download a larger area with actual with all the data that you would actually need that goes along with it, so that it's kind of like you're using it for real, but it's offline. I think it's going to be a better user experience, because what I actually did download when we were there. I downloaded before we went Montreal, but it was only a small section. It didn't allow me to do all of Montreal, and we couldn't use it for navigation on the way up there. But in this case, I think when they're talking about going with Google Maps offline, that we would be able to download all the different sections that we need and actually use it for navigation. That's what I'm getting out of that.
So how much data is this actually going to use locally, do you think, to download these large area maps?
I don't think it would take too much data. I don't think it would take too much data. And maybe it's also, I wonder if it's specific to I think it would be opened up across the different platforms, but I'm wondering if maybe they'll roll it out with Android M, but I would think they would be within the app itself, and they'd have it for Lollipop as well, and the earlier versions.
And they mentioned that it's going to be really good for third world countries, I guess, that have like spotty internet connection. But the only thing I can think of is Vermont.
Close to the third world.
Close better here than it is. Yeah. As soon as I go outside of Burlington, I don't know.
Oh my goodness!
It doesn't matter what.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so in this case, it'd be cool to go ahead and it would be really cool to be able to download a state at a time. Like, let me download all of Vermont. Yeah, exactly. Let me download all of this province. Let me, it's going to really help when people travel abroad, in my opinion, because you don't want to use that data and exactly. So, yeah.
It would be nice too. I don't know actually much about how the offline mode works, but if it learned your habits as well, like if it could, for instance, they already know what your email is. If they know that you're flying to, for instance, Atlanta next week, maybe it downloads and you're staying at a specific hotel. It downloads all of the maps necessary to get you from the airport to the hotel, but nothing more, so it doesn't crowd your storage system.
That would be cool.
Yeah. That'd be really interesting. That would be nice. Yeah, kind of dynamic.
Yeah. That way you don't have to say
you don't
download
have to think about downloading
Atlanta for next week, and preemptively, because you don't really know that you need it offline until you're like stuck there and you don't have the service, and you're like, crap, I wish I would have downloaded this map.
That would be really cool.
Exactly.
That would be really cool for it to and to go ahead and do it for you without you having to consciously make an effort, because there's going to be a lot of people that don't realize that they have to do that, and they just don't think about it. So
right.
Totally. That would be awesome.
So probably the most exciting thing that I saw was the introduction of Android Pay. So do you want to kind of talk to us about Android Pay and how that's going to differ from Apple Pay? And I see that there's 700,000 different retailers are going to be adopting Google use Google Pay now.
Well, from what I saw during the conference, or not saw, but just read rather during the conference so far, is that this is pretty much, I think, just switching it over from Google Wallet to Google Pay. So we had Google Wallet in place already with Tap and Pay, and that's been around. Any place that had the NFC access at those terminals, people would be able to use it as long as they had the little PayPass symbol on it, and you could tap your phone and pay, kind of like you do with Apple Pay. So with this, though, it says that is going to be a little bit different. Users will unlock their phone and put it in front of the NFC terminal, and there's no external app needed to complete the purchase. So I guess it'll be maybe just further integrated in with Android M, I'm thinking.
Sort of like how NFC Pay. I mean, you don't need a special app to do that.
You tap and pay, but it does open the Google Wallet app right now with the NFC.
You don't. Yeah, that's true. You don't need to consciously.
No, you don't have to consciously open it. And then they're saying that for security, that the system will create a virtual account number, and they prevent your credit card from being shared with the store. And like you said, over 700,000 retailers. So I think it's smart that they're going with Android Pay rather than Google Wallet. Just kind of, you have Apple Pay, Android Pay, you have Samsung Pay now as well. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I guess we'll have to wait a little bit more to hear more about it and hear further details.
So is it actually, I mean, do you have a unique account number or something? It says virtual account number, but I mean, I know I have a Google Wallet card too, but does it consider that Google Wallet card number a unique number? Or
I think it will hide that, and it will share when it's doing a transaction instead of your credit card number, a virtual. Card. Yeah, temporary. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Spencer, what's your take on Android Pay?
I think it's a natural progression. It makes sense considering Apple Pay, but I'm terrified of it because I know that there is no such thing as security. It just doesn't exist. And even if you make a temporary card, if someone is a good example of this, a good example of mobile security is there's this conference in Vegas that happens every year. It's called DEF CON. Oh yeah. And DEF CON is basically like a hacker conference where people go to basically break into other people's stuff and show off the latest exploits in hacking. And there's this guy who walks around with this screen, and he doesn't say anything. He just walks up to you, and on the screen is your password. And it just senses it. That's crazy. Senses your phone near it, and then it immediately gets your password and shows it to you on the screen.
Gosh, that's crazy. Yeah.
So considering that sort of security, considering it's that easy to get your password right out of your phone that's in your pocket and you don't have to touch a thing. Imagine if now that's your associated with your bank account in any way. It becomes very, very scary very fast. And I trust Google that they'll, have backup systems and ensure your stuff, but it's very scary.
Oh, goodness.
But yeah. It will be convenient, so that's nice.
One of the most devastating things to happen to a company is when credit card numbers get leaked.
Oh yeah.
So obviously they're gonna make their best shot to not make that happen.
Totally.
Is a noticeable drop in sales.
Absolutely.
Retail chains like JCPenney get announced on the news for leaking out 500,000 credit card numbers. Yeah. Just imagine if that happened to Google.
Yeah, and the temp cards will mitigate a lot of that. If someone gets a hold of one of these cards that's being communicated out of the device, they won't be able to get very far, and it's only authenticated with one vendor. But what happens if a hacker is able to get in and generate more of these temporary cards? Right, it's too hard to foresee sort of a situation where that gets exploited as well. And anything new, PayPal in their first year or so, they probably lost millions of dollars to exploits from people that attend DEF CON. So anything new will have some of those issues, and I'm sure Google's going to eat some of those losses if they do occur. So.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they don't occur. I am a huge fan. I've been a fan of Google. I even have a Google Wallet hoodie. So I've been a huge fan of Google Wallet since it first came out.
Awesome.
And I have a Google Wallet hoodie. I sure do. I have a Chrome hoodie. I have a Google Wallet hoodie, and I think I have another Google hoodie somewhere. But and a YouTube one. I'm a fangirl. What can I say? But I use it all the time. And I also have, I have an iOS device also. So I have both Android and iOS, and I use Apple Pay a lot too. And I've been using it more and more now that it's more widely available. Yeah. And it's the other day I went to the grocery store and I had forgotten my wallet and my purse actually, but I had my phone on me. And I was just, I brought up my because they don't even have tap and pay at the grocery store. And I was, you don't have tap and pay? And the woman looked like I'm nuts. Like, what's tap and pay? She had no idea.
That sounds like something she doesn't want to be involved in.
Yeah. But, and then I even pulled up my LastPass on my phone, and I was like, I have my credit card right here. Can I pay? No, you have to come back. So I left, and I got frustrated, and I just was thinking it'd be so convenient if there were tap and pay in every store, and just for people like me that forget her wallet and purse and just carry my phone, which clearly I guess that's the only important thing to me is the phone and to be able to pay that way.
I think we just got it here at the Shaw's down the street from me. Do you remember when you were here? Did you see those Apple Pay signs?
I vaguely remember. I think they might have had it.
Yeah, they're up now.
That's awesome.
So I wasn't sure if that was new. Maybe it's been around for a while. I just don't know.
And if they have Apple Pay, they probably would be able to accept Google Wallet or Android Pay I
know the machines do have NFC capability.
You should try tap and pay with your Nexus.
I haven't really gotten into that too much. I've tried to avoid it as much as I can. Eventually, it'll become inevitable.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see.
So I thought another cool feature that they added that's going to be part of Android M was actually two things. First, they are making it so that when a developer creates an app and they open up a link within that app, that there'll be a user interface within the app for people to view their link. And it's actually going to be, or view the web content. It will actually be a Chrome custom tab. So the custom tab, it'll be coming directly from Chrome. It will look like it's part of the app. It will have kind of the app. You can even put like a little tag on it, and that will, I think, make reference to the app, but it's actually using Chrome. I thought that was good. I like that. That.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then the other one, and this is awesome, now on tap. It allows users to pull up your information anytime from your device, no matter where you are or what you're doing. So in other words, when you have your Google Now cards, if you use Google Now, and I use it religiously, and you swipe away a card and then you kind of wish, oh gosh, I wish I didn't swipe that card away. I could really use that kind of card now. Why is that card not popping up? This is like now on tap where you can access the information that you need to access when you need it. And those reminder cards will still pop up throughout the day as well. So I thought that was pretty cool.
It's convenient because that does happen to me a lot. I'll swipe away my, I have Google right on my front screen, obviously, because I have a Nexus. And it's a lot easier to just click on, hey, I want to go home right now, because my directions will pop up right there. And it's just like 10 extra steps if it's not there. And I'm like, I wonder what determines whether or not that's going to be there.
Yeah. And I even get hesitant to swipe something away, just be like the parking space one. I'm like, oh, no, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Or when it says, is this card relevant right now? I'm scared to hit no.
Yeah, I mean, it's not relevant right now, but I plan on going to the mall later tonight, and I'm going to need it.
Exactly. Exactly. So you just never know when you're going to need it. Exactly. So, do you use Google Now at all, Spencer?
No, I don't. I'm an iOS user, so
okay.
I don't use it.
So, do you have the Google Search app on your iOS device?
I don't. Okay. I don't.
Okay.
No, I just pop open Chrome if I want to search something.
Yeah.
Old school way.
No, the old school way. I went ahead and put the Google Search one on there just because that way I can have access to the Now cards and access Google Now within. Yeah. So if you install the Google Search app on your iOS, you probably know this already, but for listeners out there, and then you have access to all the Google Now cards.
That's cool. Yeah. I haven't messed with it at all.
Yeah.
I'll have to take a look.
Yeah. Just the regular blue Google app.
Cool.
Yeah. And then another thing I thought was really cool was they have morphed Google Photos. We all knew that the rumor was around.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up.
I'm sorry. I stole your thunder. Okay.
Go ahead.
So Google Photos has always been a part of Google Plus, and they had moved it over so it's actually sitting in your Drive. And they did this, I don't know, was it a month or two ago? A few months ago, I think. And now they're I don't know if they'll completely strip it away from accessing it from within Google Plus, but it is actually, photos.google.com. So you just go there and there's a Photos app that you can have for your Android, which most people that have Android already have the Photos app by Google. And I believe there's going to be one I don't see it in the App Store yet, but for iOS as well. And the nice thing is that this is going to give you unlimited free storage for all of your photos and videos. It will allow...
Even the high def videos, like 1080p and everything like that?
Well, yeah, they're saying unlimited free storage at 16 megapixels for the photos and 1080p for the videos. Now, if you need higher res than that, you can actually opt out of the unlimited storage, the free unlimited storage, and go with your regular drive storage and use that instead. But
which ends up being kind of
expensive.
I
mean, I have like 300 gigs in my drive, a little bit more than that actually, but I don't want to use it all for my photos because I back up everything to Google, and all my photos are backed up to Google, and all my videos are backed up to Google. So to me, this was just kind of natural to go with the free unlimited storage. I am a little bit concerned because the photo is at 16 megapixels, and some devices are launching with 20 megapixel phone or 20 megapixel camera on the phone.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I don't want to degrade my photo quality, but then I also use Dropbox as well to back up the full res photo. So I have the full res photo at Dropbox also in video. But I thought this was a nice feature, and it is available for iOS as well and Android.
A lot of these cloud storage services will give you tons of different offers to get free space too.
Yeah.
Like my Google Drive has, I think I have like an extra 30 or 50 gigs or something just for, I don't even know what I did. Just for free.
Yeah. And I think with the launch of certain devices, if you buy a certain device, you might get a free 100 gigs for 2 years or, so there's always some type of offer going on. So, yeah. Do you use Google Photos right now?
I'm forced into it because I have the Nexus. That was one of the interesting things when I got the Nexus. I was looking around like, where the hell is my gallery? Where is gallery? Why is there no gallery on
photos?
Here? What do I do?
It's photos. Photos.
So yeah, it took a little bit of getting used to it. Yeah.
I love it. How about you, Spencer? I know you have an iOS device, so
I don't back up to photos, but it might be something I need to look into as well.
Yeah, I don't even use the iCloud backup at all for the. I use it for the backup for the device, but not for the photos on my iPhone because
it's pricey.
It's pricey, yeah. And so I just turned all of it off, and I just use Google, and I back up everything on my iPhone to Google and to Dropbox and to Flickr for the photos. Now, I do it everywhere. I also do it to SkyDrive. Yeah. But,
Flickr is also a little bit pricey.
Yeah. Oh, Flickr's now doing 1 terabyte for free, though.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And they give a terabyte for free.
That's kind of intense because what does that cost on Google Drive? That costs like $100 on Google Drive, doesn't it? To get a terabyte?
No. So a terabyte on Flickr is just for photos only. They don't do anything besides photos, right? Okay. And Google gives free storage for photos and videos. And Flickr, which is run by Yahoo, gives 1 terabyte of free storage. So I used to be a Flickr fan from back in the day. Like back when it first started, I was all about Flickr and had the pro version of Flickr. And after they upped their storage to a terabyte for free, I think everyone canceled the pro account and just went with the free account. Yeah, there's no need for it.
Nice move.
Yeah. It was an interesting move by Yahoo. I think they really want to get people to use the service. And
they just want people to stay in the Yahoo ecosystem.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
That's what it was. I was thinking about 10 terabytes on Google Drive.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Not 1 terabyte.
Still, that's affordable. 10. You mean 100 a month or 100 a year? Yeah. I don't know. Is there anything else about Google I/O that stuck out to you guys that you want to?
Yeah, Weave. Yeah. Weave was really cool.
Oh, I missed the Weave. I haven't read about Weave. Tell me about Weave.
So there's this whole sort of movement of the Internet of Things, sort of like everything being a connected device. Mm-hmm. And and it seems like Google sort of picked up on one of the core problems of that, is that if you have an Internet of Things, there isn't sort of like a central hub through which all of these things communicate. There's no like protocol where they can talk to each other, communicate in like a mutual language. Everyone just builds a thing, connects it to the web, and then like hopes that people plug the APIs together. And that's going to get really messy really fast, especially if every device in your home is a connected device. So what they did was they created Weave, which is like a foundational operating system. It's basically their own custom Android kernel through which you can sort of build connected devices on top of it. So it's kind of like Linux. In the past, connected devices might be connected through like a small chip, like a Raspberry Pi, if you're doing like a DIY project or something,
right.
and that would run Linux, and Linux would be connected to the web through some sort of accessory part or through the Pi itself.
Right.
And then, you would send messages through like the typical internet protocols. Weave is a completely new system, a new operating system, and kind of like a new way for these devices to sort of live. And I think it's like a super smart move, because if technology is going to be moving into the physical world, and Google is at the center of it, sort of like their operating system is the one powering all of the connectivity, all
the Internet of Things devices.
It's a crazy position for them to be in, which they're already there for the internet. Now they're going to be there for the real world. It's awesome and maniacal. It's awesomely maniacal.
That is really cool. Is
this the same thing as Project Brillo?
I'm not.
I think they're because now I'm looking at it. And
Project Brillo,
Project Brillo and Weave, for Internet of Things.
Exactly. So Weave is the protocol. Weave is like it seems like from what I was sort of briefly reading, is Weave is the protocol through which they communicate. So it's like it's the means for communication, and the sort of schema that they're using for each of those devices to say like, hey, I'm a camera and I've taken a photo, or hey, I think the example they give is like, I'm a soil moisture sensor or something. And this is my signature as a device. Here are the things that I can tell the world about myself. And then other devices can listen to those events from the soil sensor and say like, hey, I'm a sprinkler and I'm listening to the soil moisture sensor for this particular signature. Regardless of the device, any manufacturer can make a soil moisture sensor, and the signature coming out of it will be the same. So I just listen for that one signature, and when the soil moisture goes below a certain level, I turn on the water or whatever. So
that's cool.
So it's
awesome.
So you're right. Brillo, I'm looking at it now. Brillo, it seems like the operating system itself, I was incorrect, and Weave is the protocol through which they communicate. So
I see. Okay.
That's I think what they've launched.
That's awesome. I think that's really smart. I'm not surprised though, right, that they're involved with this. They should be if anyone's going to be involved with it. So that's super exciting.
Absolutely.
Definitely a great field to get into.
Definitely is. Well, that's what they need to. It needs to. I think everything's going to be seamless going forward, and we're going to live in this amazing world of
the path
automation.
To world domination.
Domination. I was saying automation, but
where the drones come out and just tell us what to do.
Anything else that stands out to you guys? There's so much. I can't wait to watch the keynote later and just kind of really dive into more of it. But,
there was this one other thing that I think they released, and this was like I think the last exciting bit was this 3D camera, like 360 camera.
I saw
they did
that.
the partnership with GoPro, and it seems like they've made like this apparatus that allows you to take photos in every direction, and then they've got their own way to store that, so that in the future when VR and augmented reality becomes more of a thing, this seems like the device through which you would capture that information.
Yeah. I saw that I'm part of the keynote when I was trying to watch it, and I thought that was really cool. I'm like, I love the fact that they partnered with GoPro for it too. That's really exciting. Totally. Yeah. And then they have I don't know if they talked about it today, but it was launched yesterday, Project Tango, which is, I believe, a 3D scanner, if I'm not mistaken. It's kind of a tablet that's a scanner, I believe. It combines with 3D motion and depth sensing, and it gives your device the ability to know where it is and how it moves through space. And they're actually selling it, I think, for $512 right now on the Google Play Store. Project Tango tablet development kit. So it's
wow.
Yeah, $512.
Have you guys heard of the X Prize?
No, I haven't heard of it yet.
No.
So the X Prize is this really awesome thing. I wish I could remember the guy's name who sort of runs it, but it's this phenomenal sort of investor and, I don't know, rich guy who basically puts bounties on some of the world's grandest challenges. And so he's got like I don't know, he'll say like $1 million toward education, anyone who can develop a thing that will, influence this many people or like help the third world sort of like come online, or
I think I have heard of that.
And so there are bounties on all of these like ridiculous challenges, or like lowering the cost for a payload to go into space, because that opens up the floodgates for putting human beings on Mars. It's like sort of these like compounding technologies that we really need, and that like there's really not a lot of incentive to go after right now other than research funding. This guy kind of adds the incentive just because he wants humanity to move forward at an accelerated rate. Anyway, awesome. One of the things that he talks about is sort of recording our past, and how are we going to make 3D models of the things the physical things of our past. Like there are museums and archives where that contain like thousands of artifacts from human history, and they're going to deteriorate over time. They're only going to get worse. They're not getting any better. So one of the things one of the bounties he had, if I remember correctly, was basically for someone to create a machine or a device or an apparatus that you could put a device into, and it would make a perfect scan of that device, regardless of size. And be able to sort of like store that in some sort of memory efficient way, so that humanity could have this object forever in its current state as of 2015. It's kind of like a funny challenge, and it doesn't become immediately apparent why it's important to humanity. But the explanation that he gave in a few videos that I watched about it were pretty inspiring.
I could see that. I can completely see a huge need for something like that, because what if, things like you said, things are not going to stick around. This little, whatever, all the stuff on my desk is going to deteriorate. It's not going to be around. And to be able to make, capture all that.
Absolutely. And the only way we learn about ourselves in the present is by looking at ourselves in the past. And so if you can collect all of sort of all of humanity over the course of human history, and have a way for human beings to engage with it 1,000 years from now, or even a few hundred years from now, in a real way. Like if we've got VR and I want to see, a diary of someone famous from the 1800s, I could literally do that if it existed in a 3D environment. So it becomes really important for those types of things. And this you said it was a scanning device that allows the tablet to be aware of itself in space. Sounds like exactly that. Sounds like something where, if I wanted to capture a thing and this device knew where it was in space, and I could just move it around another device in space, then I could get a perfect 3D representation. That's huge.
You know what this leads to? This leads to the Star Trek holodeck.
Exactly. Awesome.
We combine VR. We can hop on a holodeck and just go to a virtual museum and see anything
I want that. I hope that happens in my lifetime. I really do.
We can only hope. That's the one thing I want in this world. It's the one thing I want to get out of life.
A holodeck. Yes. No, that is fascinating. And it really kind of makes you think, one of the things I was thinking about recently, and it's not quite as high tech, but just the fact that we take so many images and so many pictures, and I have, I think all of us have thousands, if not tens of thousands, maybe even 100,000 of pictures that we've captured automatically through our devices, right? And where do we, right now they're stored in the cloud, but how do we maintain that throughout all the years, and what if something were to happen though to the cloud or to our environment and things are wiped out, then all those memories are gone. So that was kind of even thinking that way. So things need to be stored in a form factor where it's not going to deteriorate or go away. And not that cloud data would, but I'm just wondering, what if something were to happen and things were blown up? Yeah. What if it were blown up and then
exactly? What if there was a war and like an EMP goes off or something, wipes all the drives?
Yeah. What if that happens?
Boston
Yeah.
or
What
New
if
York?
that were to happen and then all these photos and all these things are lost? I don't have printouts of anything, because I'm not all that sentimental, but a lot of people do, and so.
I guess that's why they have, distributed data centers. It's like Amazon, their primary business is not selling you like socks on the internet. Their primary business is AWS, which is Amazon Web Services. Yeah. And they provide a bunch of stuff, but one of the services they provide is a CDN, which is like a content delivery or content distribution network. And they basically got your data in 50 locations around the planet, 50 big, huge data warehouses. So that, when a user in China says, hey, I want to see, Jennifer's photo from last week, it doesn't have to come from, the San Francisco data center at Google headquarters. It can come from, the Chinese data center and get there faster because it does take a few seconds to get around the planet.
Yeah.
And so if something bad does happen in, say, I don't know, in China, and there's an explosion or a natural disaster or something, and that data center gets wiped out. Luckily, because of CDNs, those things are persisted in a few other locations.
That's, I never even realized that. So I feel so uneducated right now. Thank you.
No,
That's awesome.
Sorry.
That is awesome.
So you're going to go. The real issue would be what happens if, humanity sort of grows out of ways to get the information out of these data systems? What happens if, all physical devices that pull the data and transform the zeros and ones into stuff we can see on a screen or stuff we can experience, if those means go away for some catastrophic reason, how do we then extract and we lose the knowledge of how to build those systems to get the data out of these disks or these solid state drives? How does one store the instructions to extract that data?
Yes. Yeah.
So basically have to reinvent the wheel just to get the
Literally.
information from the data
what
center.
happened? How do you reinvent the wheel?
How do you do that? No, that's it just reminds me of a film. What was it? Was it Contact or I don't know? Was that the film? It was where they were trying to create or figure out how to build this. I think it was Contact, actually, a spaceship in order to get to the data that they need to get to, and they sent it through some type of code and somehow it was decrypted. So how do you share that kind of data?
Complicated issues. I'm glad there are smarter people than I working on it.
Yeah, me too. And then smarter than me.
Let's talk about something that we're actually using.
Okay, yeah. So let's talk about something.
Why don't we ask Spencer? Spencer, what are we using right now?
So we are currently doing this call on a piece of software that I wrote called PodClear. And my team and I have been working on it for the last 6 months. And it is basically, in short, it's a way for podcasters like yourselves to record interviews with much better quality than Skype. So traditionally, if I'm in San Francisco, where are you guys based?
I'm in North Carolina.
North Carolina.
And I'm in Vermont.
North Carolina and Vermont. Typically what we would do is if we want to do an interview like this, you guys would call me on Skype. You would use a program like Call Recorder or Pamela, and you would record this call locally on your end. So you'd be recording yourself with good quality audio, and then you would be recording me through Skype. So Skype hyper compresses that audio, sends it over the wire in real time to get to your ears, and does it in a way that sounds natural, so we can have a conversation that doesn't sound like we're like complete weirdos with no like social tact at all. The downside of that real time is the audio does get compressed. It does sound bad from time to time. If my internet connection was slow, it would compress it even more, and I would sound like a robot. So what PodClear does is it solves that problem. It records locally on both sides of our call. So I'm recording on my machine. Andrew is recording on his machine, and Jennifer is recording on her machine. And, all three of us are able to sort of speak into our computers. After the call is over, PodClear will sync all of these raw files, these sort of like lossless files, to our servers. And then those files will be merged together. And then what you get as a result is not the sort of lossy recording that Skype would give you, but a lossless, perfect audio file, like we're all sitting in the same room talking to each other. So we hope that this product sort of like helps this process of remote interviews and people interviewing other people and getting this information out in the world. We hope that, over time, the quality of these interviews will improve. The audio quality and the content quality, of course, will be, phenomenal. And we're doing our part to sort of help in that whole process.
That's
a brilliant idea. Absolutely brilliant.
I agree. Cool. I agree. I love the idea. It eliminates, in my eyes, for me at least, the need for a mixer as well. It's fantastic, and I have those same exact pain points where I will record in a podcast and we do it exactly the way you said. We record it on Skype. I use Audio Hijack to record the audio, and then I do a little bit of editing afterwards and upload the podcast. But I can't seem to, and I use Amadeus Pro to edit it, but I can't seem to level everything out and just make everything sound great. And some people might sound terrible because their internet is poor, or they might drop in and out, or just, you never know, but whatever is going on with their own in regards to Skype. And so I think it's just a brilliant idea. And
cool. Typically, in the past, a lot of our users will even go as far as to sort of do what's called a double ender, where like they'll say, if you're recording a podcast and you were going to interview me, you'd say, hey, Spencer, go download Audacity, which is this other recording piece of software. And then you'd say, okay, when I say 3, hit record on Audacity, and then, you'll be recording locally on your machine and I'll be recording locally on my machine. And then you kind of like fake this whole process where like, I'm recording. And then at the end of that, like you would be like, okay, Spencer, could you just like upload that to Dropbox and then, give me permissions and then send me the link, and then I'll download it on my side, and then I'll, unzip it and then stick it into my, Amadeus, and then layer the tracks and then try and sync them up by hand, and then, edit the podcast then, and then put in my intro and outro and then export it. The process is like, it's endless, right? And it takes you hours, and it's super obnoxious for your guest because, the guest is sometimes not technical, a lot of times not technical. So you're trying to instruct them to do these things, and you feel really bad because they were already like gracious enough to like be on your show. And, it's just this crazy, it's just this crazy process, and PodClear kind of makes it as easy as a few clicks. Like you invite them, it sends them an email, walks them through the whole process, and then they open the app, it starts recording. When they're done, it syncs automatically, it merges the files automatically, sends you an email, and it's done. It's just like, it's a huge step forward for that process, which is pretty cool.
That is very, very cool. It's extremely easy, so tonight we're using it, right? And I just went ahead and put in Andrew's email address and his name. Actually, we tested it out once before as well, and it went straight to him. And Andrew, for you, how was the process on your end?
Yeah, this was like the second time I used it, so I'm not extremely familiar with the process and in the program. It's very, very well written as it is now in the beta even. And it walked me through the whole process. It gave me a microphone check so I can make sure that everything's working on my end. Gave me the key, plug in the key, and it walks you through step of the way. Extremely simple.
Yeah, very smart. So I know the story, but I think the listeners might be interested with how you came up with the idea of making podcasts, or making PodClear rather.
So Hannah and I were Hannah's one of our co-founders. There are 3 of us. It's Josh, Hannah, and I. And Hannah and I were on a road trip. We were driving up from Los Angeles in November of last year, and we were listening to some podcasts. We were like avid podcast listeners, so we downloaded a bunch of them, and then we were kind of listening to them all as we drove. It's a 5-hour drive. And so sort of as we were driving along, we were listening to this one. I think it was called Dirtbag Diaries, which is about people who, are avid sort of outdoors people, living in their cars, rock climbing, and doing really cool stuff. It's always like an inspiring, sort of interesting podcast to listen to. But the person they were interviewing they must have been like far away from their their network, or their data network for their phone, whatever they were calling in on. Or if they were on Skype, they were in a terrible internet cafe in like the middle of Laos or something. Like their connection was so bad, and you could not hear them. Like every other word was cut out by Skype, and they seemed really interesting. So we're like, this is like a worthless podcast at this point. Like this person sounds like they are saying some cool things and the questions are awesome and I would love to hear what they have to say, but it's unintelligible. And it's amazing that it's 2014 and no one has like fixed this or like made Skype faster or something. And as we were sort of like talking about the possible ways to fix it, you know, I'm a software engineer by trade. So I was like, I guess you could try this, like this thing, there's like this possible solution or this thing. And then it's like, actually, wouldn't it just be easy if you just recorded on both sides and then like taped them together at the end? Because it's not live most of the time. Like you have all the time in the world to do it. You don't have to do it in real time.
Right.
And so we ended up just like hacking together a prototype in November, got a few people to sign up and beta test it for us. Launched to like Product Hunt, I think in February. I launched to Beta List and a few other websites, and then spread organically after that. Now we're up over 2,000 users.
Wow.
Yeah, which is great. Some of my favorite podcasts are using it, which is kind of surreal to
That's gonna be exciting. Yeah.
Totally.
Did you go back to the Dirtbag one and what's it called? Dirtbag? Is that what you said?
Dirtbag Diaries.
Dirtbag
we haven't
Diaries?
yet. No,
Yeah.
we were just talking about. Maybe we should not tell them yet. Like, I feel bad. Like, listen, your podcast was so bad.
No, but you've been giving them some. You know, now I'm wanting to check them out though. So I think that's what's going to happen. It's publicity for them.
They're really great. So we'll reach out to them eventually and see if they want to give them a free trial or something. But So that's what we've been doing. We're 6 months in now. The software is basically done. It's been stable for about a month. It's been kind of a tumultuous process getting that whole thing sorted out because it's a tricky process. There's a lot of factors, so it's very easy to mess things up. And you know, in some cases, like I don't know, make people's audio sound super weird. In 90% of cases, we can fix it, but in some cases, you know, it's been a little bit tough.
I see.
So now I feel good about it. It's pretty stable, and we have 100 and something. We have paying users, and we have a bunch of people who have signed up, and we still have a waiting list. So we haven't released it to everybody quite yet. We've released it to maybe 2/3 of our group.
Okay.
And then and we're going to a startup incubator in Chile in a month. That's the next big thing.
Congratulations. That'll be exciting.
Yeah, it'll be really cool.
That'll be fun.
So that's it.
So it is in beta right now. Do you have any plans on when you're going to be coming out of beta?
Yeah, I think we're going to wait until we're in the incubator. So we have this next month we're working on a few more features. We're working on mobile, and we're working on replacing Skype entirely. With WebRTC, so that you won't have to open Skype and PodClear. You'll just open PodClear. Right now, PodClear runs as a parallel application where you need to communicate with someone via another app or the phone or something. Like we could do a 3-way call right now; it would work. And then PodClear sort of runs on the side. In the long run, I think what we're going to do is just use tools to basically have PodClear do everything. You'll talk through PodClear, you'll record through PodClear, and PodClear will handle every step of the way.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, totally. So we're working on that, and then once that stuff is close to done or done, then we'll probably do a public launch. We're heading down there on June 22nd. That's when we start the incubator. It's a 6-month program. So as soon as we get down there, we'll probably launch more publicly and see who's interested in using it.
Now down there, so is it not in San Francisco? It's LA, maybe?
It's in Santiago, Chile.
No kidding.
Yeah.
You're going to Chile?
Yeah.
How awesome.
Yeah,
that's going to be exciting.
Yeah. It's been like it doesn't seem real yet. But we're really excited to go down and do some travel and explore the region a little bit, but also, you know, be in this amazing place, this amazing like.
Do you know Spanish?
Sadly, no. My stepmother is Hispanic, and she is probably quite disappointed that now at the age of 23, having lived in her house for 10 years, I still don't know how to speak the language. But I don't know. I'll learn it. It's 6 to 7 months is long enough to learn Spanish.
You'll learn it while you're there.
Yeah,
definitely.
absolutely.
That's really exciting. I'm stoked for you guys. That's
thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. So, So let's walk through the process. So I go ahead, I'm creating this show right now. How long will this content stay up? Or will it, I guess if you have a paid account, will the content stay up there indefinitely until you delete it? Or
that's something we still need to figure out. So our thought is you don't really need us as a storage service. You've got Dropbox, you've got
right.
Google's Google storage systems. You've got a ton of stuff. It's more costly to store your stuff long term. So what and that cost would directly translate into added cost for the subscription, right? Because over time, if the storage system grows, our costs grow. So what I think is we'll probably store the files for a few weeks, maybe a couple of weeks, and we'll send you reminders like, hey, you've got 2 weeks left, you got 1 week left, it's expiring tomorrow, and then at that point it gets erased.
I think that's a good idea.
But it'll give you enough time, because basically all you need us for is to record the file, get it to your side, and then download the thing as quickly as possible so you can publish, right?
Exactly.
It's we're not a RSS feed or a host or anything like that. So I think it'll probably, right now it's stored forever, but eventually within the next month or so, I think that.
I mean, most people are gonna want to get it back. I mean, as soon as possible, so they can get it
absolutely.
On their website.
Yeah, 24 hours. Typically, people are like, as soon as it syncs, they're like, yeah, I want my files.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So how long does it take after everything is recorded for it to get sent to the user?
It depends on the length. This recording is about we're at 55 minutes right now, and it would take about 5 minutes for this to upload. So after the call's over, we'll all hang up Skype and just leave PodClear open, and it'll take anywhere from 2 minutes to 5 minutes depending on your internet speed, and then it takes a few seconds to download it onto our server, and then it takes a fraction of a second to mix the files together, and then the server re-uploads it to a storage system, and then it alerts the user. So that can take anywhere from like the moment they hit stop to the moment they have the files could be anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty quick.
Fast. That's really
and it sends them an email and stuff. So if they want to walk away from the computer, the only thing is they have to leave the app open during that time, at least while their files are syncing. They don't have to, if their file's done syncing, they can close it. But they do have to leave it open until it's done syncing. And if they close it before that, we have some backup measures where they can reopen the app and it'll start uploading again automatically. But we prefer that guests just sort of leave it open.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now, obviously, this program isn't going to be perfect if you don't have a good microphone.
Yeah.
It really depends on your recording quality. It's not just going to magically make everything sound crystal clear.
Correct.
So do you have any recommendations? Do you have a specific brand of microphone that you suggest people use when they get PodClear?
That's a good question. I don't claim to be an audio expert per se, but I know that in terms of usability and ease of sort of getting into it, I like Blue as a brand. I have a Blue Yeti. And Blue is really great. The audio quality is phenomenal. If you're getting a condenser mic,
that's what I'm using right now.
I mean, if you're using a condenser mic, it's gonna sound good. It's just some people go for these crazy preamps, and then they need phantom power, and then they have to plug this whole apparatus into their computer, and then plug the mic into that, and it's just in my eyes, it's a lot of fail points. It's more places where things can go wrong. A crazy mixing board and all that stuff. It's a lot. It adds. Every device that you add adds complexity, cost, and so I would just assume keep it minimal. Plug the Blue in; it'll sound phenomenal. The best thing you can do is contain your environment. So, if you want it to sound really, really good, don't record in a room with a bunch of windows or walls without stuff on it. Put some blankets around you and deaden the noise a little bit. I had to do.
Don't have your refrigerator
right, exactly
like it is at me.
Exactly.
Right now.
I live in San Francisco in the hate, and there's a bunch of homeless 20-somethings screaming outside as well. So if you can ask them to be quiet. You'd laugh.
I haven't heard you yelling yet.
Yeah, shut up. In my room right now, my room has a bunch of glass windows and sort of empty walls. I'm moving out soon, so we've taken everything down, and so I've got a blanket up over the blinds and my yoga mat wrapped around the mic. It looks hilarious.
Nice.
But, it's a DIY setup.
It works. It works for now. Exactly.
Yeah.
You'll be out in a month anyway. So
Exactly.
Nice. Really good. Yeah. So on the receiving end, so when we're done with this, I will receive then 3 files, right? Or actually, yeah, 3
You've
files.
got 4,
I would think.
actually.
4, mine too. Yeah, so 3 audio feeds, and then 1 with everything combined together.
Correct.
Okay.
So some people want that sort of granular control. They want to know. They want all of our files so that they can, if they can cut out little bits. If my mic had background noise while you were speaking, you could just literally cut that bit out. Yeah. That's something that is pretty unique with PodClear as well. Is like if you were using Pamela or you said you were using Audio Hijack,
right?
If you were using that, for instance, you would only have 2 channels. You would have like 1 channel with your voice, 1 channel with Andrew and I's voice.
Yep.
And if something was going on in the background noise of Andrew's track or Andrew's microphone, and I was speaking, there would be no way for you to edit Andrew's track because our tracks would be combined, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
PodClear allows you to have much more control as well as higher quality.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very, very smart. I'm extremely impressed. Now I have to ask you about subscribing to the service because my free trial is about to expire. I have 1 session remaining and I would like to go forward with getting the service. So if people are interested in getting the service, I know you're in beta right now, but how would I, for example, be able to participate going forward?
Well, you are signed up for the early access list, so I can go ahead and send you a link, and we will enable your email address so that you can go to the sign up page and go through that whole process.
Awesome.
But for people who are listening to this now, when does this episode get aired?
It will be airing this weekend.
Okay. So for people who listen this weekend, we won't be public yet. If you're listening after this weekend, currently it's the end of May, then we might be public. If you are interested in getting access to the product and you hear it on this podcast, send us an email. Hannah will be more responsive. She's better with people than I am. So she's Hannah at PodClear.com. It's a palindrome, HANNAH. Wow, I struggle with that. So Hannah at PodClear.com, and she will throw you on the early access list, and we'll get you in the next wave of early access users. So we can't get you in immediately, but we can definitely put you in the next wave.
Excellent.
So that so you get access to it.
Excellent. That's awesome.
Awesome.
Well, Andrew, do you have any other questions for Spencer?
Do you have any plans of using any other platforms besides just a PC?
Mobile, I think, right?
So we have, we've got Mac, PC, and mobile. We're going to go Android and iOS. Working on iOS first. And then, that's it. We might do tablet too. We might do iPad since it's the same language that you write those apps in, just a different UI.
That makes sense. Yeah.
All right.
That makes sense.
Yeah. That's all I got. That was my last question.
Cool.
Well, wonderful. Oh, wait, I have one more. Okay.
Yeah,
so what, I'm sorry. How many participants can participate?
Oh, unlimited. Yeah, that's
unlimited.
It's a huge thing. Yeah. So we've had luck with, I think 7 is the most we've tried.
Uh-huh.
But I don't have very many friends, so we can't try it with more. So seven is the most we've tried, and it worked. It was fine. It mixes and everything, and you get the individual files. And but theoretically, our system accommodates unlimited participants. So eventually we're going to do conference calls and all of that stuff as well. So
awesome.
Mm-hmm. That's be good. I mean, businesses recording business.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're going down that road for sure. Like as soon as the tech is ready, podcasting is a phenomenal space, and I like podcasters a lot, but it's obviously a niche market.
Yeah.
So conference calls are huge. People want high quality recordings of those conference calls, and PodClear is a great solution for them as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, awesome.
Wonderful. I'm excited. I can't wait to see where you guys are a year from now. I know you're going to be
excited for that too.
I know it's going to be really cool. So, well, thank you for taking the time to talk with us tonight. Oh, wait, we have our picks of the week, but we are going a little bit over. Should we save them until next week, Andrew, or go over them now? What do you think?
I think our guest here could benefit from
okay.
Mine, so
cool.
Like
okay, let's go ahead. Okay, we'll do our tips of the week. Okay, so I'll let you go first, Andrew.
All right. So, Spencer, you're going to be going to Chile or Chile. My pick of the week, actually, ironically, is a website that I found a couple weeks ago. It's called italki.com. It's just like the letter I, talk, and then the letter I again.com. And what it is it's a big social network for people that want to learn languages.
Super cool.
And it's probably the greatest community that I've ever found. They have super cheap tutors and teachers that you can hire by the hour. And if that's not your thing, you can just find a language partner. And there's so many people on there that are just willing to, hey, I'll teach you Spanish, but my English isn't that good. You want to teach me English?
Awesome.
And they give you the means to hook up via Skype or Hangouts or anything like that.
That is super
and,
cool.
It's just the friendliest community I've ever
What are you
met
learning?
in my life. And I've been learning French now for about 6 weeks. I've only been on iTalki for maybe 2 of those weeks.
Is this your first language?
But I've already no, that's my it's my second additional language. I learned Spanish back in high school, but naturally I've forgotten most of it. So
cool.
But yeah, it's outstanding. I've had 5 or 6 different tutoring sessions. All of them have gone pretty flawlessly, and it's just probably the most helpful thing that I've ever found.
That's awesome. Very cool.
And it's free, right? Yeah.
It is free. Yeah, absolutely. There's no subscription cost unless you want to hire a professional teacher. And I have a professional teacher right now with pretty impressive credentials, and I'm only paying $8.50 an hour for him.
That's good.
It's outstanding.
That's really great.
Cool.
Awesome.
I've got one too. If you've got a second.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
So I just saw this, I think, last week. It is super cool. It's a branch off of a larger app called Sunrise. Do you guys use Sunrise?
I haven't used it. No.
So Sunrise is an app. It's a calendar app. I believe Microsoft owns them. I think that Microsoft acquired them.
Okay.
And so it's like a really gorgeous app. It's super awesome. But they just released a feature called Meet, and it's a scheduling app for Sunrise. Have you guys ever used like Calendly or anything like that?
Oh wait, is this
Schedulize?
I haven't. No.
I haven't, but I want to hear about this. I'm thinking that if it's what I think it is, I think it's going to be awesome. So keep going.
Yeah. So basically, it's one of the coolest scheduling apps I've ever seen. And what they've done is, if you're on iOS, I think they're trying to do Android as well, I believe. But if you're on iOS, it's a keyboard. So it's a scheduling app as a keyboard. Mm-hmm. And basically what it allows you to do is, if you're in an email, for instance, typing out plans for a meeting, you can click on the switch keyboard icon. It takes you into this Sunrise Meet keyboard, and then it's in the view is your entire Gmail calendar, mm-hmm. and then you select a few spots where you'd like to meet this person, like possible meeting times, and then you select a location and a few other details, how long the meeting is, and all of that stuff, and then you just hit OK, and it drops a link into your. If it's a text message, it puts it into the text frame. If it's an email, obviously puts it into the composing pane. And then what they get on the other side is they click this link, and they are presented with the options for times that you want to meet, and it's this gorgeous UI. Oh. And then they put in their email, and then that's it. The whole thing gets scheduled. It gets automatically synced with both people's calendars. Updates are sent through Sunrise. And it's just so dead simple and so freaking cool. I did it twice.
I just
showed
up for
all
it.
my roommates. Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, because
sold
I have
already.
been using for years. I've been using whenisgood.net and
what's a .net? So.
Whenisgood.net. Yeah. and I think that's or maybe it's whenisgood.com. Let me look. Let me see. Whenisgood is good.
.net.
It is .net. Okay, so it does this. It gives you the meeting times. You just say when is good, and you can make a custom URL and do this. But the thing that I didn't like about it is that it's not pretty. It's just it's not too pretty. And I am so excited about this. I just signed up for an account. This is so great. Now, will it talk with Exchange?
It talks with That's a good question.
I'm looking now.
Is Exchange
it does.
your...
Oh wait, no, it says not available yet. But yet is the key word.
What is
yet.
Exchange?
Microsoft Exchange. So
it's your calendar app?
Yeah, it's you use it. I use it at work, so it's like your Outlook, but it works with the calendar and your corporate email. So it's your corporate email and calendar. Okay. So a lot of companies use it.
Can you sync Exchange with a Google Calendar?
No, not unless if you're using, not unless if you, I guess that corporation is tied in with Google Apps. But
it's a closed network.
Yeah,
okay.
It is. Yeah,
got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it looks like it will be coming though, according to this.
If it's available, it is so freaking cool. I like nerded out on it. I'm not like not like a scheduling kind of guy. Like it's not the type of app I usually get excited by, but the experience was so cool that I was like I showed on my roommates, like, you gotta check this out. Like, it's in the text message. Like, it felt like I was, I don't know.
Awesome. No, I'm just stoked that there's, and then when I went on to the sunrise, I just see all of my friends that automatically like this. And I'm thinking, how have I been in the dark and missed this? Because how you see all your friends that like it on the bottom, all the pictures. There must be like 30 pictures at least listed down there. And I'm like, how have I not known this? This is awesome.
It is so cool.
That is so great. Well, I had 2 picks. I'm just going to mention one of them actually. And this is nothing new, but there has been an enhancement to it. And it's about Google Translate images. So if you have a piece of paper that is, or even just take a picture, you open the Google Translate app and take a picture of something, or you open the app and take I forgot what button you push, but there's a button, a camera app button, the camera icon. You push this camera icon button and then you aim it at the screen or the piece of paper that has text in a different language. It will translate that text on your screen.
Cool.
Very, very cool.
So if you're too lazy to use my pick, you can use her pick.
Yeah, exactly. And so it works so extremely well. If you have Spanish written on a piece of paper or on your computer screen, open Translate, point it at the screen or at the paper, hit the camera icon, and the text will translate into English right in front of your eyes.
Does it detect languages? Like, do you have to tell it this is Spanish?
It detects it for you. It detects it. Yeah.
That's brilliant.
It works
so hard
extremely well.
They did that.
I don't know.
It's awesome.
It's oh wait, it does say, okay, open Translate app, choose the languages you want to translate between. Maybe you do, but I thought it did it automatically when I was testing it out.
I saw Translate you tell it the languages, and then you can literally have a dialogue, and it'll be a translator in the middle. It's pretty cool. Like it detects who's speaking and it'll say it in your native tongue.
Oh, that's cool.
The video one sounds really cool. I used to use an app called Pleco, which is a dictionary for Chinese, and they had a similar feature, but it was always broken. Mm-hmm. So you'd point it at stuff, and it would maybe 2 times out of 10 get it right, and most of the time it would just be horribly confusing.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, at least this one will work. So,
cool.
Yeah, and it says automatic for the automatic translation will go in between with French, German, Italian, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish. So that will automatically detect it, and the rest of them I think you have to select it. But yeah, super super cool.
Cool.
Yay, fun stuff.
It's nuts. It's crazy, the type of technology we have nowadays. I'm using it right now, and I don't even have to take the picture.
It does it live. You don't have to take the picture. That's the thing. It just sees it, it scans it, it sees it, and it changes. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it cool? I know. It's like magic. It's like magic. I get so excited about this stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. So you're all set.
Yeah, I don't even need to learn Spanish anymore. Thanks, guys.
You got all the tools you need.
Yes.
That's awesome.
I guess we should wrap, you guys. We could talk for hours upon hours with this kind of stuff, but I know it's getting late. At least over here it's late. It's almost 10 p.m. So, but Spencer, can you tell everyone where people can find you online?
Yeah. So our website is podclear.com, and we are on Twitter at PodClearTweets. And I am at Spencer414 if you want to follow me directly.
Okay. and we'll make certain I have that in the show notes. Cool. And thank you so much.
No problem.
And Andrew, how about you? Where can folks find you online? Where would you like to send them if they're looking you up?
I never use my Twitter, so look at a different episode if you want to find my Twitter. I'm not even going to mention it. But my LinkedIn, if you're interested in my credentials, is linkedin.com/Andrew Nels. So half of my last name.
All right, cool. And for me, I'm all at jenniferruggiero.com. And we'll have all of our links in the show notes. And for the show, you can find us, of course, at getnerdywithit.com. And we're at Facebook and Google+, Twitter. All of our links are on our website, getnerdywithit.com. And be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. We're on SoundCloud, Spreaker, and we have an Android and iOS app, which last week I said was being updated this week, but we're a little bit delayed on that. So it looks like it will be updated next week. I have the apps ready to go. I just need to submit them to the App Store. So keep an eye out for that. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you for listening to Get Nerdy With It. Join us each week as we interview nerds talking about their passions.
Oh, nerds.
And be sure to visit us at getnerdywithit.com.